So the Incarnation Cross is a signpost, not a goal. It's going to reveal your life's work, your life's purpose. And our activity is expressed as our purpose. It's captured in this Incarnation Cross. You can see that this is the vessel of love, all the love gates in the G center, higher self. So that person is impersonally loving towards all that is. That's part of their role. It's going to play out differently depending on what their profile is. So Ra would call it the costume that we wear is our profile, our sun-earth line values. So it's not something, he says, that we're entitled to. It's something that's not necessarily even inevitable, because obviously your sixth line being, you die well before your Saturn. You have no way of living out the fullest, highest incarnative purpose of that lifetime. For you yourself, your soul's purpose, of learning perhaps, but not the fullest expression of the Incarnation Cross. So big shoes, think of, big clothes that you're going to grow into. And you grow into it by operating in alignment. They don't automatically emerge as we go through the deconditioning process. It is what we be, remember? It's the broadcasting of our light and how we ground that light into the form, into the world, into manifestation of expression. But this happens when we function as our unique, differentiated self, that the theme of your Incarnation Cross will start to express itself through us and reveal your purpose in this lifetime. There's 192 possibilities. Remember, this is 70% of the energy that makes you who you are. So we can call it, at the BG5 Business Institute, we call it our life's work. So you can see here with Ra and his Incarnation Cross, you see that he's got, those centers are defined, but then he's got these activations, 3 of which are in a center that is defined, and 1 of which is not. When a Incarnation Cross gate is in an undefined center, it's showing a light, in this case, that is only for specific others, those who are receptive to his ability to be an expert on understanding the mysteries of life. In this line specifically, it's about occult knowledge. Anywhere there's a gate with an undefined center, that is where you have the potential to profit. Ra sold us a system that was inspirational by getting to the bottom and laying out the details of the mysteries in life. And that's part of his work as a clarion. That was his Incarnation Cross. So the purpose of the life unfolds over time. It's not like when you're first born that you have the possibility of filling those big roles and stepping into those big shoes. The archetypal expression of the cross is going to be unique to you. The design, it's calculated at 88 degrees of the sun, or 89 days approximately, before you actually were born. And this is the nature of our unconscious biogenetic inheritance, your direct inheritance genetic lineage. So when we look at this foundation for developing awareness, the design gates of the cross, your cross, will provide the foundation for your life's work in your development of awareness. So it depends on the line value, it depends on the gates, on what those themes are. And this is how we're here to be, broadcast and also ground our life's work from the body side, our unconscious genetic expression. Now, one of the great misunderstandings of the design side is this idea that we cannot be aware of it because it's unconscious. It means that your mind can't be aware of when it's going to show up or how it's going to show up. We can't write the story there. This body expression, your unconscious sun-earth, is not unconscious to the body. It's only unconscious to your personality. So we are kind of oblivious to it unless enough other people have come and said, hey, do you know you do this? Do you know you do this? Until it's pointed out enough by, maybe an analyst or someone in design, where we begin to observe the life of the body's own genetic inheritance and expression. And it'll unpack itself over the life, if this is a 6th line especially. And it'll slowly reveal itself to your personality's awareness. So as you get older and you're living in alignment, what you'll notice is that you'll be more comfortable with this body that the personality is riding around on. Being more congruent in alignment with the body means that you have more ease and flow as you live out the expression of your great big purpose. Again, not a guarantee, but something that organically happens over time. So it's a great mystery, and we can't write the script. Ra was very clear not to write the script of your own movie, but to sit back and watch what happens when you operate in alignment. So your personality, it's calculated at the moment of birth. And this is what we have conscious access to and what we think about all the time, whether it's defined. And so we have a very limited, narrow, fixed, like this 51 over here, expression of it. Highly specialized, you could also say. Both the 51 and the 57 is something that is very locked into the personality construct of what you think of as yourself. Remember, this personality, the soul's incarnative purpose, is something that is witnessing and watching. It's not the decider. It's the observer, the passenger. So when we look at the sun and earth, what they stand for is the potential expression of your life's trajectory. That's that arm, the conscious arm of the cross. And as we looked last month, you would see that this, wherever that personality sun is, in whatever quarter of the wheel it is, shows the fulfillment through, either through the learning or the fulfillment, depending on which area of the quarter it's in, of that mind's process in Ra's case. And so in the beginning of the human design experiment, unless you were blessed with good fortune and good luck to be raised correctly, you happen to be raised correctly, what happens is this is what we express, this tangled web of concerns and fears and whatever the case may be about things that we think we have to do in order to ensure our survival. That is the big difference between a 7-centered being and a 9-centered being. 9-centered being is not here to be preoccupied with survival, but to be aware of the flow of energies, be more available to respond, initiate, what have you, whatever is correct for you, in congruency with the flow of life. So the mind and its mental constructs, its mental shadows, and what it thinks of as itself and its realities, slowly that web starts to untangle as you live in alignment with your truth. So as you read through your own incarnative cross and its life work, remember on the slides are going to be a generality. You yourself are a specificity. You may or may not recognize it. And remember, it's not a guarantee. First, we must clean off the windows of your view so that you're not operating from this mental construct that thinks, it knows, it has to, must, should. And coming back home to embodiment, the expression of this body, the vehicle, and its life. It's one precious life that it has. Soul, incarnative, comes back life after life after life. But the body and its crystal is melted down in the core of the earth, Ra says, in order to build a brand new, we all get brand new evolved vehicles. That's how we've been able to evolve and grow. So over time, if we persevere with our decision-making strategy, honoring our congruency of how we're here to meet life and be exactly what life needs, no more, no less, being our own authority, what we do is we learn to observe in the deconditioning process the mind's stories, its shadow states. And then we gradually develop, if we are walking in alignment with our design, the totality of the design, and then we have the ability to function from a 9-centered potential, because this vehicle that we're in, 9-centered vehicle, is still under heavy mutation. And we haven't been given the fullest expression of it because it's not time yet. as a potential because it's still mutating, it's still gestating. Right here, Ra would often say that he was a door closer, closing of the door on inner truth, to establish inner truth for nine-centered humans that can individuate the new nine-centered humans that are coming, ones who will be full-blown raves, what the voice called raves, Ra said. Those are going to operate in aware pentas. So very different story to operate in an aware penta, whereas right now we're not able to do that. We operate in unaware pentas. So in the unique experience of your personal integrity of being, the awareness of what you're here to be, a life that is beyond compare is going to be completely unique to you. So if you are completely and utterly unique, and you're playing out your big archetypal role, as we mentioned, big shoes, takes a while to get there, then we get to experience and express our specific particular purpose in life, the Incarnation Cross. And when you are a manifester, you'll experience it with peace. When you are a generator, you'll experience it with satisfaction. When you are a projector, you'll experience it with sweet success. And as a reflector, it would be surprise that you would experience as far as the frequency. Now, those words are not just signposts. Peace, satisfaction, success, surprise. They're not just signposts. They are the essence of the expression of your spirit experiencing what it came here for. So you can always go back to whatever it is that you're focusing on. If it brings anger, then the shift needs to happen to come back to authority, be your own authority, and do things that are impactful for you and inform in order to impact so that you can initiate and manifest in a way that brings your peace or your joy or your initiation, what have you, whatever it is that's otherwise there in the design as keynotes, because it's a holistic being that you are. So remember, this Incarnation Cross that I'm going to give you as something to process, you can take it, most people will, in the not self in the beginning will take it and say, okay, I'm here to be this. I've got my purpose, especially if you're an undefined G center or high, like me, unconsciously defined G center. It can be really easy to over-identify and go, okay, here's my goal. This is what I'm going to be. I've got to do all this to reach my goal, because the mind will take that and run with it as instructions. So don't let the mind do that. Remember, mind wants to have a goal. It wants to have a purpose. And it loves to have this sense of, continuity, or immortality is a better word, that it can imagine it will allow us to live beyond the grave. You could say a lasting legacy. This is especially true if you're very tribal. What's my legacy? What's my mark on the world? So this purpose of your incarnative cross in your life's work is not for imagining what could be. It is for experiencing moment by moment as you move through life. So this life is for you to wake up to recognizing or self-realizing what it's like to be an experiment of consciousness in form, or an expression of consciousness while embodied. We, as human beings who are nine-centered, and as we know studying human design, you can see, we are a binary consciousness. We are here to learn to be conscious of both body, the design, and mind, the personality, not as a goal, but as an in the now experience of being awake. This passenger, your mind, and its witnessing capacity, it speaks through the personality, but it is not the personality crystal. There's a huge difference between being a passenger, observing that body-mind integration of the experience of being alive, and the mind broadcasting or imagining, picturing into the future what the experience should be, what it'll bring, what it could be, interpreting what might be. See how we're pulled into the future. Imagination is built on past experiences. So we're taking our past realities, jerry-rigging it together and trying to, okay, I'm going to be this, and finding some measure of certainty or security in that, because now I've got my purpose. So just, I did all this to be very careful about what I'm about to give you so that you don't glom onto it and misidentify and then miss what is actually there in the present moment. Okay? I hope that that makes sense. All right. So this incarnation cross that we're about to go into with each of you, this is raw. As we can see, we split it apart, personality and design. And there's 70% of who he was. The incarnation cross gives us the trajectory or the movement in space of our magnetic monopole. This is that which holds us together, as Ra would say, in the illusion of our separateness from the totality, bringing us together to be able to experience life, because personality by itself and body by itself is not alive. It's not able to experience the full awareness and flowering of a nine-centered human. So there's a maturation process that we all go through. It is taking in through the openness what we've learned about in this life, and then the specific wisdom that we've gathered helps us build our outer authority, our expression of outer authority. Outer authority, when it comes to all of us, each of us, we all have it. But it doesn't come unless we have our specific individual expression of it. So we can't force, we can't push. It's coming from a unique experience of our individual life. And when you have your incarnative cross purpose lived through you, breathed through you, and you're giving your unique differentiated perspective, what Ra calls outer authority, he would equate to a nine-centered human's enlightenment. All of us have it. It's natural, it's organic, it's there. And it's there for specific people. Remember at the beginning we said that incarnation crosses were all fractals, here to connect with specific others. We're not all here for everybody. We're here for very specific people. That's especially true if you've got a left angle profile.